We got David Price, not rookie pack. Luca.
Zion base mosaic.
Jason Tatum rookie card. Pink Hyper LeBron. What is going on, guys? It is Thomas Ludner from Love of the Hobby blog, and I am here today with Montanna Chambers. Montana, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure thing. Hi, my name is Montanna Chambers. I've been collecting sports cards for about 6 years now. I just started getting the shoes about 2.5, 3 years ago. Mainly just collecting autographed cards. Sometimes I even go to games and get autographs. Mainly just expanding the hobby. It's what I love to do. I also work at Sports Connection. I've been working there for around 7 months now. I love it. Don't ever want to leave when I go to college, but unfortunately have to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually, I remember the first time I met you. My brother and I were buying boxes, and we had sat down, and it sort of blew my mind a little bit how much you knew about the hobby and like what prices have gone up and down.
Yeah.
I believe we were talking about Optic, and we were saying how like Optic this year isn't that big, and you brought up how Optic last year, the past 2 years, has been amazing, and that's where I was like, oh, this is interesting. All right, cool. So going off of that, what ended up getting you into the hobby of collecting cards?
So around like 7 years ago, I got one of like the blaster boxes from Dick's Sporting Goods, who doesn't even sell baseball cards anymore. And I would go to games and like get them signed. And so I thought it was like the coolest thing. Like players would like have like their pictures on like these like pieces of cardboard, and I literally just like fell in love with it like as soon as I started opening these packs. And so I went to, I think it was like Five Below, opened up some retail pack, and I got a Manny Machado relic card. And I thought, all right, like this is so cool. Like I have a piece of like this player's jersey. Like I never thought like I could like pull like one of these cards before. And so I kept buying these blaster boxes, getting the cards signed by mainly Phillies players. And then I made an Instagram account selling the cards that I would get signed, made a little bit of money, started buying some more like higher end type cards. Like to me, higher end at the time was like $20 cards with like some random Phillies player on it. And then never really was into buying boxes, mainly just the single cards, but mainly just avidly collecting Phillies players. Not too much into other sports, mainly just baseball.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. You are from PA, so it's different because we're from New York. I'm hosting this blog from New York, which is cool to have somebody outside of New York. And yeah, that's another thing. It's funny because you mentioned how like high end is like for you is like $20, and like
yeah,
has gone from the COVID year to now. Like cards that were considered high end during the pandemic are now $20 cards, and some people still consider them high end. So that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned you were working at Sports Connection. I know we had the conversation about it, but what ended up, why'd you end up getting the job there, and what made you want to get the job there and stay there now?
So I've known John from just friends from basketball, and they told me about this place in Chalfont, and I was like, all right, like maybe I'll head there one day. I went with my mom. John was like one of the nicest people I've ever met, and this was about maybe like 2 years ago when I met John, and kind of put in a goal in place. When I get my license, I'm going to try and get a job there. And so stuck to that goal. Waited a little bit till I got my license because I do live around like 35 minutes away from there. So it is a little bit of a drive for me to get there. But once I was comfortable driving, reached out again to them and did get a job. And I don't mind driving at all the 35 minutes that it takes me to get there. I absolutely love everybody that works there. For me, going there doesn't feel like a job. It kind of just feels like I'm going there and like just scanning cards and just like sorting breaks. Like that's like fun for me. And like when I tell my friends and stuff, they're like, why do you drive like that far just to like play with pieces of cardboard? And I'm like, because it's fun for me. Like it really like isn't like a job. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome walking in there and seeing like the inventory you guys have too and how young your guys' staff is. It's actually like awesome, being a senior in college and going in and seeing people younger than me working in a hobby that I've been in for, X amount of years already. And it's a job that not a lot of people in the hobby get to go work at a sports
Hmm.
card store and actually love their job. Um,
Yeah.
and I know you just said that your goal was to end up getting a job there. So now that you have the job there, and depending on what happens in college, you're going to have to leave. What is your goal in the hobby? Like, what is your long time goal in the hobby?
So my long time goal in the hobby is kind of just to expand it. Not a lot of like female collectors like are out there. So when I like go to like these like games and stuff, and like I see like the young generation like getting autographs and stuff, like I try to like kind of like help them out and stuff. And like to me, like that kind of makes me feel good as a person, like helping like these like younger, like not only like girls but like these younger like boys and stuff, like getting autographs. And like for me, that's what sparked like the getting into like baseball cards and like getting like autographs and stuff, was like going to games and like getting them like yourself. So hopefully like one day that'll do it for somebody that like I helped, or like maybe like saw like me doing it and like maybe we're like, oh, like that's really cool, like I should try that out one day. So that's like my goal, like trying to get like other people involved, mainly just for like younger girls and stuff.
Okay. And I know that you had said that you had started Instagram, selling your cards, and obviously I know a lot of people buy through Instagram.
Hmm.
So since you're in the hobby, what has been your experience in the hobby? I know the last interview I had done was with a collector for I think about 20 years now with just John Starks cards, and even he stated that recently after the pandemic, a lot of people have been out there like scamming people because
Yeah.
that's how the hobby has become to a certain extent. So what has been your experience in the hobby, whether it's good or bad?
So mainly my experience has been pretty good. I try and use Instagram to sell and like trade mainly, but it's kind of hard because there's a lot of like really young collectors on there that like are only into it for like just like the flipping process of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mainly try and just like save my money and like stay off of Instagram and like Facebook for like buying like stuff and going to like different types of shows and like really just meeting people face to face and like building that experience up from there, because like there's only so far of a limit you can go with Instagram with dealing and stuff. But I've actually been friends with one of my good friends on Instagram. His name's Ricky, and like I actually got the chance to meet him this year. I flew out to Arizona, went for a Philly series, and it was really nice to like meet somebody from Instagram. But like those experiences you don't get a lot, so there is kind of like a barrier like through Instagram. And that's why what I like about shows is like you can go there and like talk to the people, and then you can go back to the show the next year and like still see those people, catch up with them, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's actually awesome here. So I had actually I just went to the Philly card show, and my brother actually lives in Pennsylvania now. So when I went out there, I had met somebody who I've been talking to on Instagram and doing deals with on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram for the last like 2 years now. I remember I had gone to his house to drop off a card because he lives by us in Philly, in PA, and he actually wasn't home, so I had to drop it in his mailbox. And it was awesome getting to meet them. And like
Mm-hmm.
again, the one guy I interviewed last week, me and him met at a garage sale, talking about sports cards. So it's awesome, and you do meet a lot of people through Instagram,
Yeah.
regardless of how far they are. I have one friend in Hawaii right now who I
Yeah,
hope to
there's like
meet.
it's so like diverse in like the area and stuff, like it's great.
Yeah, and then going off that question, actually, and this is an interesting question because I feel like a lot of people don't get to ask this question because I feel there are more males in the hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some pros and cons of working in a hobby that is mainly male?
So some pros are that, I don't mean to pull like the what's it called, like the female card, but I do get some better prices for cards sometimes, which is, it's kind of sad, but like I do. Some cons are some people like look at me weird a little bit, thinking that like, oh, like she doesn't know what she's talking about. But like once like you start having conversation with me, I do kind of know what I'm talking about a little bit. But sometimes I get overlooked for my knowledge of the hobby, but I really haven't had that many bad experiences. Only a few here and there with just like people not thinking that I know what I'm doing, and really just overlooking my knowledge. That's the only really con that I have in the hobby. But there's a lot of pros, mainly the good price cards. I love that. That's amazing. But, yeah, it's all been really pros for me.
Okay, yeah. Now, I don't like to attempt to overlook anybody's knowledge because I know there are younger people that have more knowledge when it comes to sports cards because they put in more time than I believe I do. So even like I said before, I was more shocked at the fact that you knew like cards prior to this year going into a store where most of the products that we had bought were from this year. So like going into a store 2022 products and you're telling us how in 2019 these prices, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool that she knows this. And then, like a little bit more on that question. And I feel like you'd answer this a little bit, but do you believe that people are ever surprised with how much you do know when it comes to knowing about sports cards?
Definitely, yeah. I was at the National in 2017, I believe, when it was in Indiana. And I got a lot of weird looks when I first walked in. Not a lot of people thought that there would be many girl collectors there. I did have some people try and rip me off there. That's the only place that I had that people did try and skeeze me a little bit. But, yeah, mainly just people are pretty shocked. And, I kind of like that, kind of making it, different and, making it better for, the other generation that's going to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. To be able to have the opportunity to change the outcome of what the next generations will have when it comes to sports collecting, so that nobody looks at it as this male dominated hobby where only men can work. Yeah, that's awesome. And then the last question I have actually before we wrap up is, what is one piece of advice that you would like to give to the younger generations, specifically the younger female generations?
So I would probably say don't do it for the money, because that's what a lot of people are trying to do now, especially with COVID hitting. They figured it's a way to make money, but honestly, just collect what you like to collect. I tried going that route of trying to make money off of it, and I didn't like it. There's people that do like it, but in my opinion, you should really just focus on what you like to collect. And honestly, that's mainly it. I feel like a lot of people are just so focused on the wrong side of sports card collecting, and it's really just about doing what you love and following the players that you like. And who cares if it's some random single A player? You collect what you like to collect. It doesn't matter if they're good or bad. Focus on what you like.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's weird because I believe the last interview was the advice was around the same thing. Don't do it for the money. It's more, it's for a collection, and that was the whole slogan of this blog. It's a collection where it lasts, where a collection lasts a lifetime. And if I collect cards of Dylan Windler, and half the people don't even know who he is. He's a younger player in the Cavaliers, been hurt his basically all the season. So to go out and collect that, and people are like, dude, why are you doing this? And it's because I like the player. It's not all
exactly. That's what matters in the long run.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for coming out. If you want to say your Instagram, I will include in the blog as well. But if you want to say your card Instagram, you could go ahead.
Sure. My Instagram is 215.cards.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for doing the interview. I've been Tom Luther, Montana Chambers, and I will see you guys next week on the next blog.